welcome to The Explainer. There's a new educational model that's really shaking things up across Korea. It's called the International Baccalaureate, or IB. But is it the big upgrade the system needs, or is it just an expensive experiment that doesn't quite fit? Today, we're going to break down what the IB is all about and get into the really fierce debate that's surrounding it. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with what IB actually is, then we'll walk through its 4 different programs and its core system. After that, we'll dive right into the heated debate happening in Korea, and finally, we'll ask, what does this all mean for the future? So, first things first, what exactly is this educational model that's causing such a stir? To really get the IB program, you have to start with this one question. It completely flips the script on traditional education. The whole point isn't about memorizing facts for a test. It's about mastering the art of how to learn and how to ask the right questions. So what are we talking about here? Well, it was born in Switzerland way back in 1968. And the goal was always to build more than just academic knowledge. It's really about developing the whole person, their personal, emotional, and social skills, so they're ready to thrive in our globalized world.
Now, here's something you need to get. The IB system isn't just one single program. It's actually a whole progressive journey, broken down into 4 different stages that are designed to follow a student all the way from preschool to graduation.
So how does this journey look? It kicks off with a play-based primary years program, or PYP. Then it builds through the middle years. And finally, at the end, students get a choice. They can go for the super academic diploma program or the more hands-on career-related program. So in the primary years, it is all about sparking that curiosity. You can forget about separate classes for math and science, at least in the traditional sense. Instead, students explore these big picture themes, like how the world works. The whole idea is to get them asking questions and investigating their own ideas, right from day one. Then, in the middle years, the focus starts to shift. It's all about applying that knowledge to the real world. And this all leads up to the personal project, where a student gets to spend months deep diving into a topic they're genuinely passionate about. Could be anything from fashion design to video game development. They learn how to manage their time and do real research along the way. And that brings us to the big one, the diploma program, or DP. This is probably the part of IB that you've actually heard about. It's a really tough 2-year course that's earned a massive global reputation as being elite preparation for university. And what makes the DP so special? Well, it's really defined by 3 core requirements that push students way beyond what you'd find in a standard classroom. Get this, students don't just study subjects. They have to write a huge 4,000-word research paper, basically a mini thesis, on a topic they choose. They also take this kind of wild philosophy class called Theory of Knowledge, which basically asks, how do we know what we think we know? And on top of all that, they have to get involved in creative, physical, and community service activities. So, you might be wondering, how in the world are they graded? Well, it's not all about one massive, high-stakes final exam. No, the final score is actually a blend. The majority of it, it comes from exams that are graded externally. But a pretty big chunk comes from projects, reports, and presentations that are graded by their own teachers over the 2 years. Okay, so you've got this really student-led, project-heavy system. Now, try to plug that into Korea's famously standardized, exam-obsessed education system. Yeah, as you can probably guess, it's creating a massive, massive debate. And you can really see the culture clash when you put these 2 systems side by side. I mean, IB is all about student-led questions and writing essays. The traditional Korean system, it's teacher-led lectures, and it is laser-focused on one thing and one thing only, getting a high score on the big university entrance exam, the CSAT, or as it's known, the Suneung. But for some families on the grounds, the reality feels a lot different from the philosophy. This comment from a parent really captures a common frustration. This feeling that IB is sometimes just the same content you'd get in a regular school, but with a ton more work piled on top. And this frustration really gets to the heart of the main criticisms. For a lot of people, IB just seems to be creating a whole new, very expensive market for private tutoring, or sagyoyuk. Public schools also have to pay these significant certification and annual fees. And there's a real fear it's creating a 2-tiered system, an elite track that makes educational inequality even worse. But honestly, the biggest hurdle of all is university admissions. To really, really get a handle on this university problem, let's just look at one number, 42. out of a possible 45. This is a near-perfect IB score from a real Korean student, a score that should open doors to pretty much any university in the world.
So what happened? Well, despite that incredible score, they were rejected from top-tier Korean universities. And why? Because the domestic admission system simply isn't built to understand or properly evaluate an IB diploma.
But, and this is the kicker, that exact same score got them a scholarship to one of the top 20 universities in the world. And that right there, that highlights the huge dilemma for students trying to do the IB in Korea. So here's the fundamental problem, the real conflict. The timeline is just a nightmare. The final exams and major project deadlines for the IB program directly clash with that intense, all-consuming prep period for the Korean Sunung. And it forces students into this impossible choice. Go all in on the IB path, or focus on the traditional system that gets you into a Korean university. So, where does all this leave us? What is the final verdict on the future of IB inside Korea's public education system? You've basically got two camps. On one side, you have the proponents who see IB as this vital step forward, a way to finally move Korean education beyond rote memorization. But on the other side, you have opponents who see it as an expensive, imported system that just doesn't line up with the realities of getting into a university in Korea. Even the universities themselves are kind of caught in the middle here. Admissions officers will tell you that they know IB students have incredibly valuable research and critical thinking skills. But they say creating a special admissions track just for them is nearly impossible without some major government-led policy changes. Ultimately, the question for Korea isn't just whether the IB is a good system. It's about who it's good for and what the cost is. Is this a genuine path to innovation that can help every student? Or is it an elite, niche track that risks making the country's educational divides even wider? The answer to that is going to shape a generation.